So today we're going to talk about using the pencil tool in Illustrator. Now, this tool kind of confused me for a lot of years. I wasn't sure why someone would use it, let alone use it with a stylus. Seemed kind of crazy, but I've gone back to it time and time again, and finally I can say that I see the light. You know, I like to use it. So thought I'd share some of my tips and tricks, and if others of you out there use it differently or see ways that you can improve, please let me know. Drop them notes, them thoughts in the comments. And without further ado, let's do this thing. So as you can see, I've brought in a sketch of the image that I'd like to vectorize. And what I'm looking to go with is a monoline style. So same thickness of line all throughout. So I'll go ahead and get my pencil tool, and you can hit N on the keyboard for that. Just adjust my stylus, my tablet, and if I draw a line, you can see initially it's a real thin 1-point line and it's got this white fill on it. So here's where we adjust things and make it how we want it, right? So I'll go over to the fill and I'll make that transparent, and then select the properties tab and make that larger, 2 or 3 pixels. If I zoom in, you can see the ends of those are sharp, squared off ends. So I want to give them a rounded butt on the end. So we'll click on the stroke panel, and then on the corners, I want to make those smooth. And so now if we look at the line, you know, it's much softer with that round butt. And then I can draw a little bit with that. Okay, next step is, let's look at the pencil settings. So if we double click on the pencil icon, it'll bring that up. Now I've already made some changes here. So like the fidelity, the smoothness, I like that at 75% or third stop there. And then fill new pencil strokes, we'll just say no on that. Keep them selected, that's fine. And then we want to uncheck edit selected paths. Otherwise, if you're drawing too close, you'll replace that path with the new path you drew. And that's just not the functionality I like. Then I find that I don't know the keyboard shortcuts, or haven't created keyboard shortcuts for all of these different pencil tools. So what you can do is long press on it and then click on this little arrow to the side. It's a fairly new Adobe Illustrator trick, is to be able to undock your menus, at least from what I remember. And there's different things you can do with some of these different tools here. So we'll just go in order. So the first tool is the shape tool. So if you like using your stylus to, you know, draw a circle, you can do that and it'll snap to the circle shape. If you know, but it only knows some basic shapes. So triangle, it's going to make it equilateral, square. I don't even know if it'll let me do a rectangle. Let's see. Nope, it thinks that's the hexagon. So anyways, I don't find a lot of value in that tool, but to each their own. Then you got the pencil tool. So let's say I was drawing a line with the pencil tool, and I've got some smoothing on, so fixes it. It's created that entire line with just 2 points, which is beautiful. That's one of the things I didn't like about the original pencil tools. It would leave all kinds of points and cause a mess. But let's say that's not exactly how you wanted it. You could redraw it, or you can select this next tool, which is like the smooth tool, so you can just kind of redraw your stroke over top of that, and then it will smooth it out or try to fix it a little bit. You know, the jury's out as to how useful that is. You'll see I don't use it too often. Okay, and then this is a tool that I just barely realized existed. That's how sad my life has been. That's the path eraser tool. Okay, there you go. And then I can delete that. There you go. But you see it leaves these little butts at the end there. And so I would have to use the direct selection tool to adjust those if I wanted those to terminate inside the line. And then really super useful tool, and there's still a couple more that aren't necessarily part of this panel, but let's say we're drawing, well, let's use a real world example. I'm drawing on this egg, this nest egg, and I'm drawing these shapes. So if I were to just draw, turn, draw, it's not real clean. It's this edge is smooth, this one is sharp. We've got this little extra mess down here. So yeah, I've found that if you just pull single lines and then overshoot where it is you're going, then you end up with something that looks kind of messy, but you grab this last tool over here, which is the join tool, and you just circle those joints. Beautiful, look at that. And then I could go in there and adjust the corners, smooth those out if I wanted to. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, and then like this example from before, let's say I do want them to terminate there, but I don't want to adjust them by hand, so none of these tools are going to quite do it for me. What I want to do instead is hit V for the selection tool, select those lines, come over here to the shape builder tool, grab that, and then holding down Option or Alt, you can delete those extra lines. Look at that, just clicked on them and they just disappeared. Beautiful, love it. Oh man, so fun. And that comes in super handy. So there you go. There's a high-level look at what it's like to use the pencil tool. And just to kind of speed up, fast forward here a little bit, I'll show you some real-world examples. And looks like for some reason my line weight is, but I want it like 3. Okay, so we'll readjust that, and then I can just go in and, you know, maybe we'll time lapse this or do a Julia Child's baking reveal later, but I'll just essentially draw in several of these shapes, or these lines that make up the shapes rather, and show you kind of in a real world example of what that looks like. Okay, so there's a mess right there, and several ways we can address all this mess. So the first thing I want to do is grab my join tool and just circle these joins. Beautiful. Oops, that one doesn't want to join for some reason. What? Sometimes select it. Huh, or zoom out. There we go. Oh, it didn't grab quite what I wanted it to. So, see, sometimes these things just don't do what you want. I don't know why. But there are ways around it. We'll go and do the other joins first, go back to that one. No, still doesn't want to do it, but that's okay, because we're moving on. We're going to grab our shape builder tool and have to delete them. You can just slice through them. Say I want to keep that one. I want to keep this one, but I want to get rid of that little guy. There we go. These little guys. Okay, looking pretty good. Grab my direct selection tool again, and you can round those ends off so they're not quite so sharp. And again, if I were to select these, go to stroke and make sure that rounding's on, that already helps, but I want to take it even further. So there you go. That's essentially what it looks like to use the pencil tool and the tools that go along with it. So if you found this video helpful and you enjoyed it and all that good stuff, well, give me a like, give me a subscribe, make some comments. You know, let's help that algorithm. And as promised, kind of the Julia Childs reveal. It's not going to be the entire thing, but there's my nest egg, and you can see I've started on the pig and the car as well, all things that I would use the pencil tool for. Some of these other things, obviously text, I'm going to use font. These big geometric shapes, I'm going to use lines or big geometric shapes. And that's all I have for you. Thanks again.